Hey guys, Rudy here. What I want to talk about is this man who recently passed away, uh, who was a YouTuber, one of the first YouTubers who ever did video game reviews. If anybody here is familiar with Angry Video Game Nerd, you can think of him as one of those kind of people. He would say he was an AVGN clone, stuff like that, and I never really thought that. I was a fan of his and AVGN at the same time. Along with other people. I want to say Silent Rob, who was another good one, Urinating Tree, Gaming Goose, just probably these guys you've never heard of, right? Armake21 being one of them. His name is Marcus Sparacio. He passed away recently, and when I say recently, just like a few weeks ago. And word spread out probably about a day ago. And I found out this morning around 4 a.m. I went to the bathroom, happened to look at my phone, saw an upload by Armake Archives, which is a gentleman who has been archiving his old stuff because Marcus had this thing about switching usernames back in the day. He went by Nicotine Alien, Armake21, that's what I knew him as. At one point he tried to get away from that persona. Because he felt like that angry reviewer thing wasn't really him. Even though I honestly felt like it was closer to him than anything else he's ever tried. He seemed like a nice guy. I've never met him. I've never really spoken to him or anything. I think maybe like he replied to a comment of mine years ago. He seemed like a nice person. And what I realized about it was my reaction, because I wasn't sad. It wasn't a sadness that came over me. It's so weird now, like when my mother died, it wasn't a sadness. It was more like I've talked about it before when I was talking about the Bay of Pigs in that 90 Seconds to Midnight video, where I said it's like an exhalation. It's like you can finally relax kind of thing. And it's so weird having this mindset. And it's like rest in peace, right? So it's like, may God rest his soul. And I mean it. Because that's the best I can do as a spiritual being, is just to wish somebody well, even after life. And the thing that got me thinking, I just came off of doing that video yesterday about the 90 seconds to midnight. And after a while, it was a 50-minute video, right? So after a while, I felt like I had to do something else besides just react. And it's like something overcame me. And a lot of that was my personality, by the way. So it wasn't a complete clown show. But I understand that it's a persona that I have to kind of take, when, especially when a camera's in front of you. Like, I don't know what it is about it. Well, when a camera's in front of you, it's like, at least for me, I've never done that before, by the way. I've never had a camera in front of me and commentated over something or anything like that before. And it's like, as soon as that happened, I felt like I had to put on a different kind of clown makeup than I normally do. Because the way I'm speaking to you now is a form of clown makeup, and that's a realization I have. But and I want to say, for like a split second, as I was doing that commentary, it was like I had a little voice behind my skull, or in my skull, behind my brain, saying, "This isn't you. This is somebody else." And it's almost like another voice comes up. The more conscious me says, "Yeah, I know that. Be quiet. I know what I'm doing," which I don't know what I'm doing, right? But you get my point. Like, be quiet for a minute. I'm doing this skit. I'm doing a bit. Relax. I understand it's not me. And Armake would talk about. I'll just call him Armake, because calling him Marcus is weird. But Armake would talk about in videos every now and then. He would speak about that feeling he would get, that angry persona he would take on. And he would go into real life forgetting that it was the clown makeup. He didn't explicitly say clown makeup. I'm using my own words. And you just got to take my word for it, right? Because you don't know the guy. I'm speaking for him in a big way. But he would talk about things like that, like he tried to remove himself from it. And I don't blame him to that extent, because this is the journey we take, right? He was on a journey of figuring out who he really was. And this Armake21 nicotine alien persona, this angry persona that he took on, was indeed a part of him, but he just didn't have it. It wasn't tamed. It wasn't tempered like a fine iron sword. It wasn't tempered to where he could just put it back in the sheath whenever he needed to. And maybe and I don't know the guy, so maybe towards the end of his life he was figuring that out, because he died at 40. Like, he had just turned 40 and he died a few days later. Now I don't know the details of the circumstances involved. I found it really interesting, to be honest, when a lot of people are speculating, and you know how speculation goes. Human beings love to speculate, but I may as well just repeat what they said. He had epilepsy, and he's never talked about it. I've never heard a thing about it up until today. My brother had epilepsy all his life. It's genetic. We come from different fathers. It comes from his father's DNA, if you want to say it that way. It comes from that side of the family. It has nothing to do with my side, so don't worry about me, guys. I don't have epilepsy. I have other problems, it's not that. But he's never brought it up, and that's his business. But my brother had epilepsy. His death revolved around that. Complications of epilepsy, if you want to say. I'll just tell the story and how he died. My brother's been out of jail all his life. He died at 46, 47, something like that. Ever since he was a young boy, a teenager. In and out of the jail system all the time. Complete opposite for me. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying we're just opposites in the big way, in that way. But I take on a lot of his personality traits too, which is a good thing. But he died in prison. And he wasn't serving a lengthy sentence. It was a 2-week sentence. It was like his third or fourth DWI. He totaled 2 cars. My mother's cars. She wasn't happy about that, honestly. But the day that he was getting sentenced, my mother basically begged at the judge to give him a break, because he's epileptic. He's really not all. He wasn't really all there, because he's had brain surgery to control the epilepsy, and that didn't go too well. It took away a lot of his personality with that surgery. And after that, he just was really himself. But he could still drive and do all the normal things people do. Check out this recording. Still going? Yeah, it is. Double check. Hold on. My brother just wasn't himself, so he served like a week of that sentence. And the story goes, this is what they told us. The story goes, he was laying on the top bunk. He got called to lunch. He was going to go to lunch a little late, supposedly. And he kind of, we're speculating he may have had a seizure on the top bunk and fell off and hit his head on the sink, because he had a big old wound on his skull, on his forehead. We're speculating that's the speculation of what happened. That's what the coroner told us. That's what the little jail people told us, whatever they're called. And that's how he passed away. I don't know Armik's circumstances. I hope it wasn't that horrific. You know, epilepsy is a hell of a disease, or a hell of an affliction. Let's put it that way. My brother's taken so many bumps and bruises. I'm surprised he didn't die sooner. Just put it that way. And back to the thing where we take other people's personalities. That had the nagging voice in my head telling me, where's this coming from? Well, obviously it's coming from other YouTubers that I've watched. And the way and a lot of it is me, of course. And a good portion of it is also these influencers, quote unquote. And I hate that word, but it is what it is. And for a minute, for like a few seconds, I was like, the way I'm acting kind of reminds me of Armake21. That flashed in my head yesterday for like a second, and didn't really think anything of it after that. And I watch him every now and then still. I love his content still. I got a playlist of his videos that I'll just have in the background while I'm doing things, while I'm doing chores or whatever. Less so than it used to be, because I'm more into the metaphysical lectures, Alan Watts, the guys I'm subscribed to, Then Keep Your Truth, Air's Point Project, all you guys, Metaphysical Truth in Games. That dude, I don't know his real name, or I'd call him by his real name, because it's a mouthful. But these dudes, Uncanny Deduction. I listen to those guys more than I do Armik now, which is cool. I got a Armik playlist, Armake21 playlist, and I got an AVGM playlist that I'll pop in every now and then. It's like listening to old 8-track records or something like that, or listen to listen to an old cassette. Just a little bit of nostalgia, right? A little bit of nostalgia is okay. I know I've talked about it before, to get over your nostalgia, obviously, but you can bring it back every now and then, and it was nice times, and we can come back into reality, and you know what I'm saying? But anyway, may his soul rest in peace, Marcus Sparacio, Armake21, Nicotine Alien, cool guy. I loved his, just loved his videos. It's just so much energy, like, and you could tell it was him. Like like I said before, he liked to play off the anger thing. He liked to say, "Oh, this Armake21 persona isn't really me." It's so interesting when he said it. I didn't understand it at the time. Maybe he had shit figured out, because he would mention it in his like later videos, his more recent videos, where he was like, I feel like I'm going back in that Armake21. This, like, he would play really bad games. I don't know how many of y'all play video games, but when you play a bad video game and that part of you just comes out, he would talk about that, like that persona, that angry video game nerd / Armake21 persona would start coming out. And I think of it, a lot of it has to do with being in front of a camera and having to perform, to be a clown. And Armake21 always felt more real to me than Angry Video Game Nerd, because AVGN was more scripted. Armake21 seemed a little bit more on the fly, a little more, I hate the word emotional, but it's all I got. A little more genuine in that sense. Like, you can see the real person underneath the makeup, in other words. And I appreciated that more from Armake21 than I did AVGN. Nope. And I'm not disrespecting AVGN. I like AVGN. You know, I wish him well. I don't listen to him anymore. I'm not sub to him anymore. He doesn't vibe with me anymore, AVGN. Whereas Armake21, if he were to kept up making videos, I would have just kept watching him, because I just find him more entertaining, because he seems like a real person. I'm not saying James isn't, but James Rolfe, AVGN. I'm not saying he's not a real person. I'm just saying his persona, his clown makeup was too thick for me after a while. Anyway, guys, I think that's all I had to say. Kind of a strange video, I know. I'll put a screenshot of Armake's obituary. You know, shout out to his family. I'm praying for y'all, wishing y'all well. That's what I do when I say I'm praying. I'm wishing his family well. He had a girlfriend. He didn't have any children, as far as I know, which is a good or bad thing. Who knows? He would have been great if he experienced fatherhood, because fatherhood is amazing. Just God bless him and his family. Have a nice day.